Well, again, Mr. Chairman and members, appreciate the opportunity to come before you here today to talk about Texas Cyber Command. While I speak here this morning on this bill today, hostile nation states, ransomware syndicates, and hacktivist collectives will launch well over 2 million probes against Texas networks, about 40,000 every second to be precise, seeking the soft underbelly of our state agencies, our school districts, our water utilities, our community hospitals, and any vendor that stores Texans' data in the cloud. Confirmed reports to the Office of the Attorney General show that in 2024 alone, systems containing the sensitive personal information of 15 million Texans were breached. In my district alone, over 1.25 million individual data profiles were reported as compromised last year alone. Information including the name of the individual, their social security number, their driver's license number, their government-issued ID number, their passports, their state ID cards, their financial information, including bank accounts, credit or debit card information, medical information, and health insurance information. Senator Johnson, in your district, 756,285 data profiles were reported as compromised from several hospitals, healthcare organizations, and enterprise financial groups. Senator Blanco, in your district, 764,865 data profiles were reported as compromised, including Texas Tech University's Health Sciences Center there in El Paso. Mr. Chairman, in your district, 5,570 data profiles were reported as compromised, including Williamson County, the Georgetown Independent School District, and the Georgetown Behavioral Health Institute. Members, these figures, sobering as they are, omit every incident too small to trigger mandatory disclosure, every compromise that's been absorbed by a cash-strapped rural county that quietly patches and prays, and every attack against a private business that dare not notify customers for fear of reputational harm. Left uncounted, these incidents are nonetheless weaponized. Stolen credentials become fresh ammo. Compromised routers become bots. And the cycle intensifies. Everything we pursue as legislators, securing water in a drought, hardening the ERCOT grid against another Uri-level disaster, modernizing taxpayer services, defending our title as the best state for business in America, can be unraveled in a single afternoon if Texas lacks a professional 24-hour cyber force. House Bill 150 stands up that force by creating the Texas Cyber Command. We locate the command in San Antonio because that city already hosts the densest concentration of a cyber ecosystem anywhere in North America. NSA Texas, the 16th Air Force, the FBI Cyber Squad, Joint Base San Antonio's Fusion Center, and more than 500 private sector security firms, including 5 of Gartner's global top 10 managed security providers. Rather than build from scratch, we plug into that ecosystem. Structurally, the command becomes a component institution of the University of Texas system, much as the Texas Division of Emergency Management resides within the A&M system, while remaining operationally independent. UT San Antonio, one of only 8 universities in the United States to hold all 3 NSA Centers of Academic Excellence designations, including cyber defense education, cyber operations, and cyber research, provides shared services, the accounting backbone, and most importantly, a talent pipeline of more than 600 cyber graduates a year, half of whom already possess interim security clearances before their commencement exercises. The command's chief is appointed by the governor in this process, confirmed by this Senate body, and serves at the pleasure of the governor, reporting directly to both the governor and the legislature. Many of you rightly ask, why move duties out of the Department of Information Resources? DIR was chartered in 1989 to procure technology at scale. Over the decades, we bolted cybersecurity onto that purchasing mission. Network monitoring in 2005 we added. Statewide response coordination we added in 2019. Regional security operations centers we added in 2023. DIR has performed admirably, but the threat environment has also outgrown and also handled here model. HB 150 transfers every cyber-related power, rule, form, contract, and full-time employee from DIR to the command on a date certain, no later than December 31st of 2026, under a detailed memorandum of understanding that DIR and the command must sign by January 1st of 2026. That MOU, Senators, will spell out which contracts transfer, how licenses migrate so we do not pay twice for technology, which employees move and keep their accrued leave, and how we guarantee there is never a single minute when Texas lacks a functioning security operations center. Once those assets move, the command does three things. First, a cyber threat intelligence center collects feeds from federal partners. It correlates with them telemetry from our own networks, and it posts actionable alerts to a statewide portal. Every governmental entity, from TxDOT to a junior college district, receives those alerts at no cost. The center also staffs a 24/7 hotline, so a county clerk can reach a live analyst in under 5 rings, not a voicemail. Second, an incident response unit modeled on the FEMA urban search and rescue concept stages go kits of air-gapped laptops, routers, storage arrays, and satellite links. When a city hall suffers a ransomware attack at 3 in the morning, the unit rolls, containing the malware, loaning clean servers so payroll still runs on Friday, and remaining on site for post-incident monitoring until the system is truly clean once again. And third, a digital forensic laboratory provides attribution support to DPS and the Attorney General. It develops forensic tools. It teaches smaller police departments how to preserve evidence so cybercrime cases stick out and can actually be properly prosecuted in court. And it publishes in lessons learned, because the only thing worse than being hacked is letting the next agency learn the same thing the hard way. Now let me head off some of your questions as well that you might rightfully pose here this morning. First, you might ask, are we duplicating the regional security operations centers that we created just 2 years ago? The answer is no. Those RSOCs remain, but they now report through the command, so intrusion logs flow into one brain instead of 5. The bill requires common sense tool sets, uniform playbooks, and a single threat scoring algorithm, so a critical vulnerability flagged in Tyler triggers the same red alert in El Paso within seconds. You might also ask, why UTSA and not Texas A&M, Texas Tech, or UNT? UTSA earned the Triple Crown NSA designation, which lets us recruit students who already have clearances and opens the door to NSF, DOD, and Homeland grants that cannot flow directly to a state agency. In short, we get talent and federal dollars at scale. That is leverage, and that is an opportunity for Texas. Does the command trample local counties, control, or saddle counties with unfunded mandates? All state agencies must meet minimum standards, just as they do today under DIR rules. Local governments may opt in. That's what I want to stress. They may opt in. If they do opt in, mandatory pieces, baseline threat intel, and the annual employee training course are, of course, free. Only premium optional services carry a cost recovery fee, and that fee is capped at the command's actual margin, or marginal cost, I should say. A rural county with no IT staff can therefore plug into the command at near zero cost, closing the digital divide between Austin and Alpine. What protects against executive overreach, you might ask? The legislature confirms the chief. We control the purse strings. We receive biennial performance reviews and are subject to the command to full sunset review in 2031, with an early review trigger if the Sunset Commission smells smoke or has any concerns. We will have 3 separate points early on to correct any drift. Who is in charge if a cyber incident strikes during a hurricane? The bill in this case mirrors the Winter Storm Uri Joint Operations Model. It requires the Incident Response Commander to embed in the State Operations Center when TDEM activates for any and all hazard events, ensuring cyber, physical, and emergency logistics decisions happen in the very same room and location. Next question you might ask is, does the command override DIR's purchasing expertise? And the answer is no. DIR remains the buyer of enterprise hardware and software. The command sets the security specification. Section 2063.004 expressly directs the 2 entities to collaborate so we get DIR's price with the command standard and excellence. Members, at the federal level, President Trump has recognized that scattering cyber duties across multiple agencies creates dangerous seams. He consolidated assets himself into the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and elevated U.S. Cyber Command to unified combatant status. He did those things during his first term. On the 58th day of his second term, he has now doubled down, signing the Achieving Efficiency Through State and Local Preparedness measure. This order then declares that citizens are the immediate beneficiaries of sound local decisions and investments designed to address risks, including cyber attacks. Members, House Bill 150 answers that call here in Texas. 1 commander, 1 budget, 1 phone number when the unthinkable happens. It pulls silos together. It closes seams, and it gives Texas a dedicated, mission-oriented force to prevent, to respond to, and to recover from cyber incidents. I respectfully ask for your support and stand ready for your questions. We also, of course, today have resource witnesses from UT San Antonio, from DIR, and the private sector who can elaborate on workforce pipelines, fiscal projections, interoperability with local governments, and the operational details of the incident response playbook. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll conclude my comments. Thank you for allowing me to lay out the bill in some detail. I think it's very important to explain what's really going on here and all the complexities. So again, thank you for the chance to be before you and the members here this morning.
Thank you, Senator. Big initiative, big bill, significant changes, ones that have certain significant merit regarding cyber threats in the state and across this nation. We've seen them time and time again in private as well as public institutions. Just to completely make sure we're following the bill, this Cyber Command would be a component of the University of Texas system that is administratively attached to UTSA for the reasons that you laid out in your bill. And the governor would appoint the chief of the Cyber Command. It would have significant duties. It has three major sections: the Cybersecurity Threat Intelligence Center, the Cybersecurity Incident Response Unit, and then the Digital Forensics Lab, all of which would have their own directors and staff.
That's right.
Right. The chief being administratively attached to UTSA, appointed by the governor, there's been some consideration of exactly who they report to, the chain of command. And I think you mentioned the governor and the legislature, but yet they are a component of the UT system. So how does the UTSA president and chancellor and board of regents, for instance, handle that situation relative to the reporting up to the elected officials?
No, thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. I'll pass out a smaller copy. We'll get it to you here. This is kind of an org chart of what Cyber Command will look like. And you can see very clearly, I want to address your issue about the internal operations within the university system. And I don't mean any disrespect to that university system, to UTSA in any way. But clearly, the chief that will be selected by the governor and approved by the Senate will report directly to the governor, as well as to the legislature. We will be the final authority with regard to what takes place, their direction, their guidance, and so forth. The UTSA structure, when you think about what's really happening, UTSA is really providing an incubation capability to get us up and running more rapidly. That's really the benefit of why we're plugging into UTSA. One, it's the most dense concentration of cyber skills anywhere in our country, or for North America for that matter. But it's the fact that we can be up and running in 18 months as opposed to 3 to 5 years anywhere else, and not be able to plug into that kind of capability. So I share this with you just so you can see on the org chart, again, that we're very clear with regard to who's in control. And again, we have great respect for UTSA and the UT system. We're very grateful for what their role will be in this. But when it comes to the operational command structure, it is very clear the governor and the legislature will be working directly and overseeing all that's there. Again, we'll get you all the details so you can see all this and how it all breaks down under the cybersecurity officer, including all of the cyber threat RSOCs. We have RSOCs all across the state of Texas. We need to continue to build out RSOCs as we go forward. But you can see all of these big categories, Mr. Chairman, that you just identified, those big three, are all reporting in this command structure up to this chief of cybersecurity officer for the Texas Cyber Command. So again, from my perspective, I think it's very clear from the org chart that we respect what's happening, that UTSA is providing access to their student population, access to their professors, access to an initial building, not on their core campus, but in downtown. It's also important for you to recognize that you literally can throw a rock and hit any of these incredible federal assets that we have surrounding this building that we'll get up and running with. But we also know, in terms of the threat situation that America faces and that Texas faces, that every day is critical. Every moment is critical. And that our risks as a state and a nation grow every day. So the sooner that we stand up, this capability, which is both offensive as well as defensive, the better off we'll be as a people to protect the people of Texas. So I hope I answered your question
Yes, sir.
sufficiently.